This video is going to cover another super investor by the name of Howard Marks. I just listened to two full length interviews of Howard Marks. I just couldn't get enough. He is such a wise investor, really down to earth, shared just a ton of wisdom. I always say that super investors are oftentimes so generous with their wisdom. He just pretty much gives it out in interviews as well as his memoirs. Howard Marks currently is engaged with Oak Tree Capital, and I wanted to take a look at his portfolio and see how he's doing year to date for 2025. Also, go over some of his investing strategies. And in general, I'm already doing some of the things that he really believes in, but he made me think about some things that I'm not doing. Maybe there is an opportunity to learn and learn from the great Howard Marks. So Howard Marks has been investing for a long time, and he, in one of his interviews, he talked about how back in the Michael Milken days, which were the 80s, Michael Milken was very innovative with junk bonds, and he made a lot of money. He got himself into some trouble, but what shouldn't be lost is Michael Milken was an innovator in financial markets, and so was Howard Marks in that era. So he goes back way back then. He's also been complimented by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett thinks Howard Marks is a really good investor. So it can't get any better than that. So I very much enjoyed listening to Howard Marks. You can go to his website, Oak Tree Capital, and you get his memoirs. You can listen to some of his advice. And I think he's very generous for doing that. I very much got so much out of those two interviews. I'll probably listen to more of Howard Marks, especially when I'm driving. I like to listen to podcasts when I'm driving. So let's get into Howard Marks, a little bit of his strategy, his performance, and I've loaded up his portfolio that he has reported on 13F reports, and I've measured his performance year to date for 2025. Howard Marks has a lot of famous quotes, but probably my favorite one is that investment success doesn't come from buying good things, but rather from buying things well, which means buying a good investment at a great discount, looking for a company that is going to rebound, that maybe the market hates, but you really see a lot of intrinsic value in that stock. I really love the thinking outside the box, the contrarian, the ability to really put an investment out there that you might be the only one that believes in. So I really took that one away as my favorite quote among many quotes that he has out there. Howard Marks has a portfolio that is above $3 billion in total asset value. And he has some stocks that are new names to me, names like Torm PLC. He has a big position in. And the expression I shared with you, where he's trying to find a really good buy into a solid company, not necessarily a very popular company or a high quality stock, but he's really going out there and trying to find those unique businesses that are really going to thrive. That one's in marine shipping, 18% of his portfolio. Chesapeake Energy, he's big into energy. And going down, I mean, there is not one Mag 7 stock in here. It's all small stuff, international stuff in China, Latin America. Really interesting that, hey, this guy is not afraid of buying small caps. He's not afraid of investing in China, Latin America. So that is incredible. There is a couple of stocks that I also own. Ternium is a stock that I'm beginning to buy into. So that is really cool. The other thing is he owns a lot of stocks. He owns over 50 stocks. In this portfolio, I didn't load them all, but he owns over 50 stocks in his portfolio. So I've got the portfolio loaded, and one small disclaimer is there were three stock symbols that I just couldn't get any information on. So I'm actually looking at 95% of his portfolio, and there's three symbols I just could not find information on. So I updated everything else. These really small stocks I'd never heard of. We'll take a look at that stock in a bit. We'll take a look at maybe his top 5-6 holdings. We'll go from there. Not every stock he owns is doing well. There's a lot of red, especially on the stocks that are near the top that have the most value of his portfolio. And this is all year to date, looking at the stock prices, where they were on December 31st, 2024, and where the stocks are today. So he's not in the positive, but he's beating the S&P overall, he's down 2.66%, but the S&P is down 4.59%. So he is beating the S&P by about 200 basis points or 2 full percentage points. He's better than the S&P. Now let's take a look at some of these companies he owns. It's going to be the first time I get to see some of these stocks, and I'll let you know my impressions of each holding. Torm PLC is a shipping stock, and this stock has really gone up and down. Over the 5-year, the stock is up 117%. Keep in mind, it pays a huge dividend, 31% dividend. That's incredible. Now, the stock did work just fabulously as we got out of COVID, but it's really settled down over the last year. It's down about 53%. So it's had its better days, in the history books. Year to date, it's down 15%. So interesting to see that he has this stock, and I wonder when he's going to get out. He owns a huge position in this company, and I think this is a big part of why he is not in the green so far in 2025. This one here certainly had some good years, but those are in the past, and now we've had a couple really a rough year if you consider it started to come down in 2024, and it's come down about 54%. So this company here, if we look at the growth rate, it has been growing. Now, shipping stocks, boy, they're really hard to gauge. I got into Zim last year and made some money, but I try not to stay too long in shipping stocks. I follow in a way Howard Marks. I like his expression that I like buying stocks at a very good price, and I don't necessarily just dedicate myself to just the top quality stocks. Zim's an example. I bought it and I expected it to go up. Once I was up 50% on the stock, and it happened over the course of 4 to 6 months, I got out. And that was my plan when I bought the stock. So here, the revenue growth is okay, but they're probably going to have a lot of free cash flow. And here it is, 244. I would say that, yeah, this company, you could argue, is a little discounted. But shipping stocks just don't get a fair price in the market. The market does not like shipping stocks for a long-term hold. Those stocks tend to be more of the Mag 7s or the really high quality blue chip stocks. So interesting that his biggest position is what would many investors consider a risky shipping stock. Expand Energy is the second biggest position in his portfolio. It's a $26 billion market cap company. Again, Howard Marks is not afraid to buy into these small caps. That's great. Revenue is 4.26 billion. So investors are paying about 6 times revenue for the company. And the dividend is 2%. It's a little discounted according to analysts. This stock is working year to date. Energy has been working in 2025. So this one is working for Howard Marks, both for the year to date and the 1 year. It looks really good. This company, I have never looked at this company, but it's interesting that their revenues have been coming down. And this isn't that the company is doing something bad. It's the commodity. The commodity price has gone down for natural gas. So it looks like the market is seeing that it's getting better. And now that energy prices are going up, this stock's probably going to go up with the expectation that natural gas prices are going to rise. So this is stock number 2 for Howard Marks. Garrett Motion is the next stock, and it's a tiny cap, 1.66 billion. And Howard Marks owns quite a bit of this stock. He owns almost $400 million of this company. So I guess he owns over 20% of the company. Revenue's 3.48 billion. So you're buying the company for a fraction of its revenue. Forward P is really low dividend. Now the year to date's not doing so well. This company is more of a car parts kind of company. Automotive is tough, especially as we're in 2025. What are tariffs going to do? I think this drop is the concern around tariffs. So this stock isn't going to work until tariffs get resolved, because I'm sure they're importing a lot of their products, and until that goes away, the stock probably won't perform. So interesting that, again, Howard Marks is not afraid of small caps. He's trying to find some diamonds in the rough that are really going to reward him. So let me highlight some more of his investments and where he's putting his money to work. He's putting his money into more oil and gas companies. Not a bad idea. Energy is the top performing sector in 2025. A lot of small caps. Incredible. He's in Latin America. Here's CEMEX, which is the cement company down in Mexico. Starbuck Carriers. So he's really invested in shipping. Really interesting. And I think that's why his performance over the 12-month might be a little low. Is shipping stocks did really well for a period of time in 2024, but they have really come down in value more recently. Freeport McMoran, genius. Those guys are really appreciating in value because they are a domestic steel producer in the US. So he's in materials. Speaking of which, Vale is a miner down in Brazil that mines copper, iron ore, and other materials. So very interesting. Talking about some Chinese stocks, there's JD, PBR, which is down in Brazil, the oil company, Yum in China, which is, I believe, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC in China. We got Infosys, which is a Indian company that does technology services, Pinduoduo, Ternium, another stock that I own down in Mexico. He's got Barrick Gold, not a bad decision there. That's really been flourishing. So he's really into small caps, international stocks, really going out and trying to find really good investments. Doesn't matter that they maybe don't have a big brand. I don't see any Magnificent Seven stocks. I don't see any big stocks. He's all purely a small cap investor. Really impressed. I really enjoyed learning more about Howard Marks, and I took away a couple of good lessons. Really like his down to earth style. I really do agree with it's not what you buy, it's what you pay, and really not focusing too much on top quality and paying a premium as opposed to finding maybe a company that's had a few bad years but is on the path to really improving their business. If I buy at a great price and that business does recover, I'm going to make a lot of money. So I like that whole approach that Howard brings. I also like his portfolio. He has a lot of shares. He has more than 50 different stocks in his portfolio. He's not afraid to take chances outside the US and on small caps. So that was really interesting. Well, I appreciate you watching. I'd love to hear what you think of Howard Marks. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.